You know that feeling when you first wake up in the morning and you swing your legs over the side of the bed? Ideally, you want to feel light, ready to stand up, and steady on your feet. But for so many of us, the reality is a little different. Maybe your feet feel heavy, almost like you're wearing ankle weights before you've even put your slippers on. Or maybe you touch your toes and they feel surprisingly cold, even if the room is warm and you've been under a thick quilt all night. It's a frustrating feeling. You might find yourself rubbing your calves while you watch the evening news, trying to get some warmth back into them. Or maybe you've noticed that walking to the mailbox or standing at the kitchen sink to peel potatoes feels like more work than it used to. Your legs just get tired faster. If you've mentioned this to friends or even doctors, you might have heard that it's just part of aging. And often, the first thing we do is head to the pharmacy or the grocery store supplement aisle. We see those big bottles of multivitamins that promise senior vitality or 50-plus support. We buy them. We take them faithfully every morning with our coffee, and we wait. And we wait. But weeks go by, and that heaviness in the legs doesn't really change. The coldness in the toes is still there. It can be incredibly discouraging to feel like you're doing the right thing by taking vitamins, but seeing zero difference in how you actually feel day to day. Here is the truth that often gets missed. Your body doesn't necessarily need a generic blend of 30 different nutrients crammed into one hard-to-swallow tablet. When it comes to the specific plumbing of your legs, those miles of tiny blood vessels that need to stay open and flexible, you need a very targeted approach. You don't need a toolbox full of random tools. You need 3 specific keys to unlock better flow. Today, we're going to sit down and talk through exactly what those 3 specific nutrients are. We aren't just going to list them. We're going to talk about exactly how to take them, when to take them, and the specific forms that actually work, because the details really matter here. There is one vitamin in particular that we will discuss last, which has a very specific timing rule. If you take it too late in the day, it might keep you up at night, so we need to get that right. Let's take a deep breath, settle in, and look at how we can help your legs feel lighter, warmer, and more comfortable. The reality of circulation and the hose analogy. Before we jump into the first vitamin, I want to paint a picture of what is actually happening inside your legs. It helps to visualize it because it makes the solution make more sense. Think about a garden hose that you use in your backyard. When that hose is brand new, right from the hardware store, it is soft. It is rubbery. You can bend it around the corner of the house. You can coil it up easily, and the water rushes through it with no problem. It expands when the water turns on. Now, think about a garden hose that has been sitting out in the sun and rain for 20 or 30 years. What happens to it? It gets stiff. It gets a little brittle. It doesn't bend as easily. And because the material is stiff, the water inside has to work harder to push through. In a very gentle way, this is similar to what happens to our blood vessels as we move through our 60s, 70s, and 80s. The vessels in our legs, which have to work against gravity to push blood back up to the heart, can lose some of that natural, youthful stretchiness. They become a little more like that older garden hose. When the vessels are stiff, the blood moves slower. And when the blood moves slower, it doesn't deliver warmth to your toes as efficiently. That's why your feet feel cold. It doesn't clear out waste products as fast. That's why your legs feel heavy or full by the end of the day. The vitamins we are going to talk about are not magic wands. They don't erase 40 years of life. But what they do is help condition that hose. They help relax the walls of the blood vessels. They help clean out the stiffness. They help the blood move freely again so that when you stand up from your favorite armchair, you don't feel that immediate drag in your lower legs. It is about comfort. It is about being able to walk around the grocery store without leaning on the cart for support quite so soon. Why the multivitamin isn't enough. So, why didn't that multivitamin you bought help? Imagine you are trying to water a large garden during a dry summer. You need a good, steady stream of water. A multivitamin is a bit like trying to water that garden with a spray bottle. Yes, there is water in there, but it is just a fine mist. It is not enough to soak into the roots where the problem is. Most multivitamins contain the minimum daily requirement to keep you from getting sick, but they rarely contain the therapeutic amount needed to actually change how your body feels. They are maintenance, not repair. For circulation specifically, we need repair. We need to actively encourage those blood vessels to open up. And for that, we need to pick up specific bottles of individual nutrients. It might seem like a hassle to open 3 different bottles instead of 1, but the difference in results is worth the extra minute in your morning routine. The road widener, niacin/B3. The first nutrient we need to talk about is the heavy lifter. I like to call this one the road widener. Its scientific name is vitamin B3, but you will almost always see it on the bottle as niacin. Now, if you go to the pharmacy shelf, you might see a few different types of niacin. This is where it gets a little tricky and where a lot of people make a mistake by accident. You might see niacinamide or no-flush niacin. Those sound nice, don't they? No flush sounds comfortable. But here is the catch. For circulation, we want the flush. Let me explain. The version of niacin that actually helps widen your blood vessels is called nicotinic acid. Sometimes the bottle will just say niacin, but look at the label on the back. You want the kind that causes a flush. Why? Because that flush is the physical sensation of your capillaries opening up. Imagine this. You take your niacin with your breakfast. About 20 or 30 minutes later, you might feel a warmth spreading across your face. It might feel like you just stepped out of a hot shower, or like you are blushing because someone gave you a nice compliment. Your ears might get a little red. Your neck might feel warm and tingly. For a first-timer, this can be a surprise. You might look in the mirror and think, "Oh my goodness, do I have a rash?" But it's not a rash. It is a sign that the vitamin is working. It means the niacin has entered your bloodstream and is physically relaxing the tiny muscles around your blood vessels. It is pushing those vessels open. And because they are open, fresh, warm blood is rushing into areas that might have been receiving poor flow before, like the tiny capillaries in your skin. This is exactly what we want to happen inside your legs. We want that same opening up effect to reach down to your calves and your feet. How to start safely? Because this sensation can be intense, we do not want to jump in the deep end. We want to wade in gently. If you have never taken niacin before, look for a 100 milligrams or 250 milligrams dose. Do not start with the big 500 milligrams tablets right away. Take it in the middle of a meal. This is a great practical tip. If you take it on an empty stomach with just water, the flush hits you fast and hard. But if you take it right after you've eaten your oatmeal or your eggs and toast, the food acts like a buffer. The absorption is slower. The flush is milder. So, your routine might look like this. Sit down for breakfast. Eat half your meal. Take your 100 milligrams or 250 milligrams niacin. Finish your meal and have your tea or coffee. By the time you are washing the dishes or reading the paper, you might feel that gentle warmth. It usually lasts about 15 to 30 minutes, and then it fades away completely. Over time, usually after a week or 2, your body gets used to it. The flush becomes much less noticeable. It might stop happening altogether. That doesn't mean it stopped working. It just means your body has adjusted to the new, better flow. Once you are comfortable with the smaller dose, you can talk to your doctor about moving up to 500 milligrams, which is often the sweet spot for really improving leg circulation. A safety note: niacin is powerful. If you have diabetes, it can sometimes affect blood sugar levels. If you have gout, it can sometimes affect uric acid. And if you have liver issues, your doctor needs to know. So, before you add this road widener to your cabinet, just have a quick chat with your doctor. Say, "I want to try niacin for my circulation. Is that safe for me?" It's a quick question that keeps you safe. Vitamin number 2. The traffic director, vitamin K2. Now that we have widened the road with niacin, we need to deal with the debris in the road. This brings us to our second nutrient, vitamin K2. This is one of the most misunderstood vitamins out there. Most of us know vitamin K1. That's the stuff in spinach and kale that helps your blood clot so you don't bleed forever when you cut your finger. That's important. But vitamin K2 is different. It is the traffic director for calcium in your body. Here is the situation. We all know calcium is good. We drink milk, we eat yogurt, maybe we take a calcium supplement because we want strong bones. We want that calcium to go into our hips and our spine to keep them sturdy. But as we get older, calcium sometimes gets confused. It loses its way. Instead of going into the bones, it starts to settle in the soft tissues, specifically in the walls of your arteries and blood vessels. Remember the garden hose analogy? If calcium settles in your arteries, it turns that rubber hose into a stiff, hard pipe. This is often called hardening of the arteries. When the arteries are hard with calcium deposits, they can't flex. They can't expand when you need more blood flow. They just sit there, rigid. This creates a lot of resistance. Your heart has to pump harder to force blood through those stiff pipes. And down in your legs, that stiffness means less blood gets through. Vitamin K2 is the nutrient that picks up that calcium. It acts like a shuttle bus. It grabs the calcium from your bloodstream and soft tissues and says, "You don't belong here." Then, it carries that calcium over to the bones and deposits it there, saying, "You belong here." So, you get a double benefit. You get cleaner, more flexible arteries, better circulation, and you get stronger bones. It is a win-win. The specific type to look for when you are in the supplement aisle or looking online, you have to be precise. You don't just want vitamin K. You want vitamin K2. Specifically, look for the letters -7 Malawian kwaches on the bottle. It usually says vitamin K2, -7 Malawian kwaches. Why -7 Malawian kwaches? Because this version stays in your body longer. There is another version called -4 Malawian kwaches, but it disappears from your system in just a few hours. You'd have to take it 4 times a day to get the benefit. Who remembers to take a pill 4 times a day? -7 Malawian kwaches stays in your system for 24 hours or more. That means you only need to take 1 small pill a day to get full coverage. How much and when? A standard, effective amount for most seniors is roughly 100 micrograms mcg per day. Some bottles might have 180 micrograms or 200 micrograms, which is also generally fine, but 100 micrograms is a great starting place. Practical tip: vitamin K2 is fat-soluble. That means if you take it with just water, your body flushes most of it out. It needs a little bit of fat to ride on to get into your system. So, when you take your K2, make sure your meal has a little fat in it. Maybe some butter on your toast, a slice of cheese, an egg, or even just a spoonful of olive oil on your salad. If you eat a very lean breakfast, like dry cereal, save your vitamin K2 for lunch or dinner when you might have a richer meal. Safety check. This is the big one. Because vitamin K affects clotting, if you are on a blood thinner like warfarin or Coumadin, you absolutely must talk to your doctor before taking vitamin K2. It can interfere with your medication. Many newer blood thinners are fine with it, but you have to check. Do not skip this step. Vitamin number 3, the vessel protector, vitamin C. We have widened the road, niacin. We have cleared the debris and softened the pipe, K2. Now, we need to reinforce the lining of the hose so it stays strong and doesn't leak or collapse. This brings us to the third nutrient, vitamin C. Now, you might be thinking, vitamin C? Isn't that just for colds? That is what everyone thinks. We drink orange juice when we have a sniffle. But vitamin C is actually one of the most critical structural components of your blood vessels. Your blood vessels are made largely of collagen. Collagen is a protein that makes tissues strong and stretchy. Your body cannot, absolutely cannot, make collagen without vitamin C. If you are low on C, your blood vessel walls become weak. They lose their integrity. They become fragile. For your legs, vitamin C does something else amazing. It helps the cells lining your arteries, called the endothelium, to release a natural gas called nitric oxide. This gas is a signal. It tells the muscle of the artery wall to relax. When the artery relaxes, it opens up. Blood flows smoothly. So, vitamin C is both the brick and mortar that builds the vessel and the signal that tells the vessel to open up. Why not just drink orange juice? You can, and fruit is wonderful. But to get the therapeutic effect for circulation, we are looking for a higher amount, usually around 1,000 milligrams mg a day. You would have to eat a lot of oranges to get that, and all that sugar isn't great for us. So, a supplement is usually the way to go here. The stomach issue. Here is a practical detail from real life. As we get older, our stomachs can get a little more sensitive. Plain ascorbic acid, regular vitamin C, is acidic. If you take 1,000 milligrams of it, you might get heartburn. You might get an upset tummy. If you have a cast iron stomach, regular C is fine. But for most of us, I recommend looking for buffered vitamin C or liposomal vitamin C. Buffered just means they have added a mineral, like magnesium or sodium, to neutralize the acid. It is gentle. It won't give you heartburn. Liposomal means the vitamin is wrapped in a tiny fat bubble, so it slides right into your system without irritating your digestion at all. It costs a little more, but it works very well. The timing rule. Crucial detail, I mentioned earlier that there is a timing rule for this one. Here it is. Vitamin C can give you energy. It supports the adrenal glands. For many people, taking a high dose of vitamin C feels a bit like a mild cup of coffee. It wakes the body up. If you take your vitamin C at 8 p.m. while you are watching TV, you might find yourself staring at the ceiling at midnight, unable to drift off. So, the rule is, take your vitamin C in the morning or early afternoon. A great routine is to take 500 milligrams or 1,000 milligrams with breakfast. If you want to take more, take the second dose with lunch. Try to avoid taking it after 4 o'clock or 5 p.m. Let your body wind down naturally in the evening. Putting it all together, your daily routine. We have covered a lot of information. Let's simplify it into a real-life, easy-to-follow daily routine. You don't want to be confused standing in your kitchen. Here is what a circulation support day might look like. Morning, breakfast time. You sit down to a nice breakfast. Maybe it's oatmeal with a little milk or eggs and toast. Step 1. You take your vitamin C, buffered, around 1,000 milligrams. This wakes up your system and starts protecting those vessel walls. Step 2. You take your vitamin K2, -7 Malawian kwaches, 100 micrograms. The fat in your milk, eggs, or butter helps it absorb. This starts guiding calcium to the right place. Step 3. Midway through the meal, or right at the end, you take your niacin, start small, 100 to 250 milligrams. The food in your stomach keeps the flush gentle. Mid-morning, you might feel that warm niacin flush while you are getting dressed or reading the paper. Remember, don't panic. It's a good sign. It means the blood is reaching the surface. It will pass in 20 minutes. Evening, you don't need to take any of these at night. Let your body rest. Patience and realistic expectations. Now, I need to share something that is very important for your mindset. We live in a world where we want instant results. We want to take a pill on Tuesday and run a marathon on Wednesday. Supplements do not work like that. They are nutrition, not drugs. A drug forces the body to do something immediately. Nutrition gives the body the tools to repair itself, and repair takes time. If you start this routine tomorrow, you probably won't feel a huge difference in your legs by the weekend. You might feel the niacin flush, but the deep internal changes take longer. Weeks 1 to 4, your body is adjusting. You are topping up your nutrient levels. Month 2, you might start to notice small things. Maybe your feet aren't freezing when you get into bed. Maybe you realize you walked around the block and didn't have to stop. Month 3, the 90-day mark. This is where the magic usually becomes visible. 90 days is a good cycle for cell renewal. By this point, if you have been consistent, those arteries are a little softer. The flow is a little steadier. So, please, don't give up after 2 weeks and say it didn't work. Give your body the respect of time. Commit to 3 months. Mark it on your calendar. I will stick with this until date. That is how you win with natural health. Other small habits that help. While you are taking these vitamins, don't forget the free things you can do to help them work even better. 1. Hydration. Think of the river. If the river is dry, the water moves slow. If the river is full, the water moves fast. Your blood is mostly water. If you are dehydrated, your blood gets thicker. It is harder to push thick fluid through a narrow hose. Drink a glass of water when you first wake up. It is the easiest way to thin the blood naturally. 2. The ankle pump. If you are sitting in your recliner watching a movie, do this simple move every commercial break. Point your toes away from you, then pull them back toward your shins. Up and down, up and down. This pumps the calf muscles. Your calf muscles are often called your second heart because when they squeeze, they shoot blood back up the legs against gravity. It costs nothing. You can do it while sitting, and it helps the vitamins get where they need to go. 3. Warmth. Keep your feet warm. Wear wool socks. If your feet get cold, the vessels clamp shut to save heat. We are trying to open them. So, helping them stay warm from the outside helps them stay open on the inside. Taking control of your health in your 60s and beyond isn't about trying to be 20 again. It is about maintenance. It is about giving this wonderful machine, your body, the oil and care it needs to keep running smoothly. You don't have to settle for heavy, tired legs as just part of aging. By using niacin to open the roads, vitamin K2 to clear the traffic, and vitamin C to pave the surface, you are building a circulation system that supports you, rather than one that holds you back. I would love to hear from you in the comments. Have you ever tried niacin and felt that flush? Did it surprise you? Or did you know it was coming? Or, is there another simple trick you use to keep your feet warm and comfortable during the day? Your tips help everyone else reading, so please share your experience. If you found this guide helpful and you want more calm, practical advice for navigating daily life as we get older, please consider clicking that subscribe button. It is a small click for you, but it means the world to me and helps me keep making these videos for you. Take care of those legs, stay warm, and I will see you in the next video.